Hello and welcome to JP Global. I am Ayaz Khan, and today we are going to discuss very important issue. Obviously, we are going to discuss Iran war, but today's topic is very different. We are not only going to discuss regional situation, strategic situation, but we are also going to discuss that how this war is impacting the businesses, the markets, and also the households. What is really going on? If we look at the situation, Trump's war against Iran was started that he claimed that it would end within weeks, but it's the fifth month and there is hardly any result. We can see that this war is already expanding from its main fronts to embroil additional countries in the region. How this war will unfold, whether it is going to stop here or we can see it making more trouble for not only for the Middle East or the other countries. To discuss this and especially its impact on the markets, economy and household especially, I am joined by a very distinguished guest, Mr. Kareem Shahidi Rifai. Mr. Kareem is a business intelligence analyst and international business development professional who translates geopolitical disruption into political commercial insights. Apart from geopolitical situation, he will explain how the US-Iran war is affecting energy prices, shipping routes, supply chains, inflation, currencies, investment flows, and international trade. So, if you are watching this, you will gain a clear understanding of which industries and which region are most affected and exposed, where new risks and opportunities may emerge, and what businesses and investors should prepare next. So, welcome, Mr. Kareem.
Thank you.
A lot has happened and even I must say changed since we discussed that we should do a program on it. As you can see that there was a talk between Donald Trump and Netanyahu in Washington, and afterwards we saw that Saudi Arabia also joined the US war. How do you see this thing happening, and what do you think how the things are going to unfold in the future?
Okay. So the interesting point, like we tend to always think that we see a figure in the front, let's say Donald Trump, we see Netanyahu, we see MBS in the front. But typically the decisions are made in the back, and the decisions are made by multiple interests that coincide in order to move a certain end goal or a certain step forward in a certain agenda, which is there. So in order to understand where we are heading towards, it's very important to understand the agendas which each side has. But to make it a little bit just short on this, it seems from the initial war, Israel and the US started, and their intention is to engage the Middle Eastern countries into a war with each other in order to weaken each country, because the final end goal goes into a direction of greater Israel, because it's which expands not in the sense that Israel has to be a country expanding to Iraq and partial Saudi Arabia, but in the sense that Israel is the hegemony in the Middle East, and that it has certain kind of agreements which might go into the direction of Abraham Accords, where they have the bigger influence and economic influence, security influence in the region. So that would be, according to some opinions, that would be sufficient for the biblical greater Israel aim, because there is different interests colluding, which would be economic interests, but also religious interests, which come together, and ideological interests. And so they come together into an agenda where which is playing into the current and into the future developments in the region.
Recently, as you can understand, that there was a nuclear deal reported between Saudi Arabia and USA. But suddenly Donald Trump jumped out and said that this deal is not possible before Saudi Arabia joining the Abraham Accords. And if you look at that situation, and now you mentioned that the people behind want this region also jumping in the war, and we have seen that Saudi Arabia has jumped into the war. Do you think that their plans are succeeding in a way?
So that is actually the big question. Are they succeeding with their plans? So what it looks like initially was that they realized that the war in Iran wasn't achieving the results that they were looking for, in the sense that Strait of Hormuz is still controlled, and they're not in a position to gain control over it. Secondly, in regards to the naval blockade which they have on Iran, which is not having that impact regarding the demonstrations inside Iran, which were they were strongly hoping to weaken Iran by internal disintegration, or like potentially going in direction of a civil war, which they were trying to arm military groups in, let's say, northern Iraq, with among the Kurdish and among, let's say, Arabs in the West, and let's say in the East also. They're trying to arm certain groups. Anybody who would support disintegrating the country, but that didn't seem really to have the aimed results. And with the big funeral by Khamenei, it showed a certain transnational unification between the different Shia communities, mainly, and even among the greater Muslim community, because it had a very strong emotional message which it sent to different communities, which was along the lines of loyalty or treason, I would say. Not in the sense of loyalty or treason towards Khamenei, but towards the greater, you could say, greater good of the Muslim people. I think that was their message. So are they being successful? I would say at the moment it looks like they are not achieving what they wanted to achieve in the time they wanted to achieve it. So right now they're trying to engage, and I would say there's also some false flag attacks probably taking place, which we can't really understand. We can't assess from outside. Everybody will be saying it wasn't me, and will be putting the blame on someone else. But trying to get the GCC countries, likewise Egypt, and I would say Pakistan, also involved in this conflict, because these are the militaries which actually have considerable military power. And if they could get them involved with Iran, then they would not need to engage themselves so much, and it would have a very considerable destruction of military powers in the region, which goes in the interest of the Greater Israel project.